India's achievements in the field of chip design are obvious to all, while its wafer manufacturing industry is in a state of being unable to take off. But starting from 2021, after experiencing the chip crisis that has swept the entire manufacturing industry in the past 2 years, India's chip manufacturing soul has begun to awaken. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi pointed out that when it comes to semiconductor manufacturing, India has no choice but to rely solely on foreign imports. It must reduce imports and increase its self-manufacturing capabilities. To this end, India not only officially approved the chip manufacturing promotion plan of 760 billion rupees, but also approved the support of 100 local enterprises to engage in integrated circuit and chipset design. What's more, Indian mining giant Vedanta Resources announced that they signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Taiwanese electronics assembler Foxconn to manufacture semiconductors in India. They joined some other companies in a runoff to build a credible semiconductor fab. India imports almost all of the semiconductors that it uses. However, as the king of global foundry, Foxconn's chip dream has a long history. As early as 2017, its founder, Terry Gou, revealed to the media his intention to acquire Toshiba. Although this idea eventually did not realize, it did not affect its continued pursuit of dreams. In 2019, Foxconn invested in the construction of a power semiconductor factory, and in 2020, it invested in the construction of a packaging and testing factory. Will this chip factory, which is also just starting out, be the savior of the Indian semiconductor industry? Welcome to Tech Teller. Before we start today's video, please subscribe to our channel, which is the encouragement that we can create more videos. Okay, let's continue the topic we are talking about. In December 2021, the Indian government adopted a $10 billion incentive plan to promote semiconductor and display manufacturing. The plan wants to set up at least 2 display factories and 2 semiconductor fabs. For applicants found to be eligible, the government will provide up to 50% fiscal support of their fab construction costs. I say up to, because 50% only applies to the 28 nanometers node or lower. 28 to 45 nanometers get 40%, and 45 to 65 nanometers get just 30%. The government will also help provide land, semiconductor-grade water, power, and logistics. But I reckon many companies will strike their own deals with state and local governments too. The plan also provides funding to help bring the venerable Semiconductor Laboratory or SCL back to commercial viability. What we should note that this area is where Tata Semiconductor is entering. Vedanta is a large natural resources giant founded by Anil Agarwal. It started out as a scrap metals trading company that slowly expanded into mining and then energy generation. India's Vedanta Resources will partner with Taiwan contract electronics giant Foxconn to build $20 billion semiconductor and display plants in India, with the announcement of the location imminent. Vedanta chairman Anil Agarwal said that the Mumbai-founded, London-headquartered company would have the first chip product ready in 2 years. Moreover, oil-to-metals conglomerate Vedanta said in February it would diversify into chip manufacturing, and announced plans to form a joint venture with Foxconn. It will announce the location of the chip hub in June, Agarwal said. Vedanta said it supports Prime Minister Narendra Modi's drive to make India a semiconductor manufacturing hub. Foxconn is our technical partner, Agarwal said. We may not take an equity partner for the fab, he added, referring to the chip fabrication plant. The Foxconn Vedanta joint venture intends to target the 28 nanometer process node, the node necessary to get the highest tier subsidy, and make smartphone and electronics chips. Up to 70% of the fab's chips will be for the Indian domestic market, with the rest for export. All semiconductor ventures roll out in phases. Counting up across its phases, Vedanta intends to spend about $15 billion in displays and semiconductors, with semiconductors receiving about $5 billion. Reuters reported that in private discussions, Vedanta is asking state governments for a 99-year lease on 1,000 acres of land, free of cost. This is in addition to whatever incentives the JV will receive from the Indian national government. In return, the venture will bring $2.2 billion in tax revenues over the next 20 years, and create an estimated 100,000 direct and indirect jobs. I want to note that this 100,000 jobs number sounds like a lot to me. TSMC helped anchor the Tainan Southern Science Park 2 decades ago, but they're not the only companies in the area. And today, the park still only employs about 65,000 people. Okay, other than that. When I first heard about this joint venture announcement, the first thing I thought was, is Foxconn really a chipmaker? Foxconn is most well known for being the main contract assembler for Apple. Their job has traditionally been to help with sourcing and putting together electronics goods for consumer electronics brands. Foxconn has a big and growing presence in India. Recently they have started assembling iPhones 13 at their assembly plant in the southern Tamil Nadu state. There might have been a few bumps along the road, but Foxconn's electronics assembly expertise in India has been proceeding very quickly. In recent years, Foxconn has been pulling together a semiconductor division of its own, but it doesn't have 7 to 8 fabs starting a 28 nanometer process node. Foxconn's semiconductor division electronics assembly is a brutal, low-margin business. One of Foxconn's core strategies for making money while still maintaining low prices has been to own as much of the supply chain as possible, especially in parts where the components are the most expensive. Displays have traditionally been one of the most expensive parts of a particular gadget. So that is why Foxconn bought big stakes in display makers Innolux and Sharp. With semiconductor costs rising and presenting challenges in the supply chain, Foxconn has been working to gain expertise in that area as well. Foxconn is right now working on the conversion process and hopes to produce 15,000 wafers a month by 2024. The first chips are scheduled to arrive sometime in the first half of 2022. So there you have it. 2 fabs, a 130 nanometer logic fab in Japan and a silicon carbide fab in Taiwan that hasn't started yet. Foxconn is involved in a few other chip design ventures. In December 2021 they announced they were working with Stellantis, the automotive company owning Fiat and PSA, on automotive chip design. Financially, Foxconn's semiconductor division, labeled as Business Group S, has been showing above-average growth, albeit from a tiny base. In 2021, Group S generated about $2.4 billion in revenue. And that number is expected to rise to $3.4 billion next year in 2023. It sounds like a lot. For instance, Taiwanese DRAM maker Nanya Technology is ranked as the 43rd largest semiconductor company, and they generated about $3 billion revenue in 2021. So Group S might be a top 50 semiconductor company in the world right now. But Foxconn made $215 billion revenue in 2021, so Business Group S makes up less than 2% of their portfolio. So yeah, Foxconn is indeed building a semiconductor division. And their efforts so far has gone further than one might have expected, and they have invested real money into it. But it is also a small part of the Foxconn empire. And the chips they seem to want to make are older, cost relatively little, about $2, and seem to be primarily geared to EVs, not mobile phones. Okay, that's all for today. Please put your comments below and share your insightful ideas with other people. Thank you so much for your continuous support. Your precious time with us is highly appreciated. We will see you in the next video.